But Taoism was not only a philosophy, it was also a religion which offered salvation to the individual, full of magical rituals, and it spread widely from the 2nd century BC because it was so different from Confucianism. The morality propounded by Confucianism was somewhat abstract and was without the consolation of any reward. Taoism, on the other hand, was a religion which responded to the need for immortality of its followers. The mystery is how it progressed from being a philosophy to a religion. There is a tendency today to equate the mystic flights described in Taoist works, journeys to the land of gods and immortals which occur in the Zhuangzi, with the ecstatic trance-like states which the shamans long ago in ancient China went into during ceremonies in honor of the dead. Taoism was also, from its very beginnings, seen as a means of individual salvation for each believer, as a way of achieving a long life or immortality through practices taught to initiates, which were in tune with the cosmic rhythms. The original Taoist cultural practices bear a resemblance to the initiation into the mystery religions of the ancient Greeks, which provided the key to immortality. But the question is, what did immortality mean? Ancient China had no notion of a spiritual soul, which survived physical death and retained the personality of the dead person. Taoism believed that the physical body only contained the personality, while the two categories of life principles which constituted individuality were still united. These were the Hun and the Po. Hun were related to the breath of life, and the Po were connected with the blood and humors of the body. Taoism therefore put forward various rules concerning food, hygiene, breathing techniques, and different forms of gymnastics, which were designed to suppress the causes of death and allow each follower to create an immortal body to replace the mortal one. Way back in the ancient past, the pathway towards sanctity, preached by Taoism, passed into Chinese yoga and was recognized some 500 years before Christ. Taoism advises that one should nourish oneself on breath and should hold in the air as long as possible in the stomach so as to feed the life forces. Taoism also offered a whole alchemy to eliminate the malevolent spirits harbored within each one of us. These drugs could be described as immortality tablets. But Taoism was not only a school of medicine, it also advised spiritual techniques to reinforce the unity of the personality. Ji Hong, a scholar who lived from 283 to 343 A.D., stated that virtue, avoidance of sin, confession of sins, and good works were the most important aspects, and took precedence over dietary regimes and hygiene prescriptions. Ji Hong also established the difference between immortals on earth and in heaven. Those on earth had accomplished 300 good actions, and therefore did not die, but were carried away into the mountains and the clouds by cranes and dragons, where they lived a spiritual life with no need to eat and drink. They could reappear amongst mortals and carry out miracles. Celestial immortals, however, had accomplished 1,200 good actions, and their bodies had become the same as their spirit. They had achieved divinity and were mystically united with the Tao. In the 2nd century A.D., Taoism became a true church, venerating immortals as saints and with very elaborate liturgies and numerous places of worship. But it did not have leaders on a national scale and was more like a federation of linked communities. Taoist clergy are made up of two groups of people: monks or ascets who have taken the vow of celibacy, similar to those of Buddhism, and lay members whose function as soothsayers, exorcists, and mediums passed from father to son. These mediums controlled each local community and were assisted by a council which collected a heavenly rice tax from the believers, which was a kind of tithe. The mediums in each community held civil status and conducted collective religious ceremonies, such as the ceremony of universal penitence and that of the redemption of the dead in particular. An essential part of their worship was the incense burner, where incense was burnt in honor of the saint. Another important offering was that of sacrificial money, which was made of gold or silver paper. This was seen as a means of redemption for the individual, and also as a way of going to the aid of disinherited souls. In 110 BC, Emperor Wu of the Han Dynasty made Confucianism the state religion in order to centralize and strengthen his power. But Taoism continued to be practiced as a parallel popular religion and was given new life in the 2nd century AD by a movement known as the Celestial Master, linked to a reappearance of Lao Tzu in 142. It was still very much alive when the Mongol Yan dynasty took over in 1280, but was forced to cede to the strong resurgence of Confucianism, although it was never really eradicated. Many Taoist temples were also destroyed later on, particularly during the Cultural Revolution, but it is estimated that there are still 35 to 50 million Taoists in present-day China.